Welcome to the 2009 Halo 3 National Championships from Orlando, Florida. $280,000 is up for grabs, and the best teams from around the world are here to compete for a piece of it. We'll be talking about all the big matches coming up this weekend, but first, we have a very special announcement, and here to deliver the news is one of my favorite people, Sundance DJ Vonnie. Sundance, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bucket, thanks for having me.
All right, so Sundance, this is our 6th national championships. It's been a great year for us in 2009, amazing season. We're coming to a close here. But in Dallas, you came on the show to give us a little info on a deal with Doritos, and now you're here to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yep, so I've got some details now on Doritos. So we've been working with them for quite some time to try and figure out what we can bring to the community that's going to really change the game for us in 2010. And to keep it short, we're doubling the events we're going to have next year. We're going to be throwing in these combine events in between the pro circuits and doubling the total of MLG events that you're going to have access to out there. So I'm pretty excited about it. It's a new way for us to find players, to identify talented players, elevate them, and get them onto the pro circuit, because we know there are a lot of you out there who can't get to these events. So now there's another way in. And we got to thank Doritos for the amazing support that they've given us.
This is huge.
It's huge. I mean,
Doritos is helping us double the number of events for 2010.
They are. I mean, I couldn't be more thankful to the type of a partnership we've already started. And I think you guys are going to be absolutely blown away by what they bring to the table and how much they believe in you guys and this community, just like all of our other partners. It's amazing. Now, the best part of it is I'm actually going to share with you the date for the first combine. We've got it all booked, and it's all locked and loaded. So I'm going to read it because I don't want to get it wrong. The first Combine event in 2010 will be in Nashville, Tennessee. Tennessee at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel, which is the same chain of places like the one we're in right here in Orlando. And it's going to be locked in, and we're going to do it so that it leads right into the next Pro Circuit event, which will be announced shortly. I can't give you those details yet.
So Nashville, Tennessee is our first stop.
Nashville, Tennessee, free-for-all and 4v4 team play for Halo 3. All the details are going to be coming out on our website soon. We're not ready to book the tickets yet. But, guys, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to get there. We're going to have a ton of MLG pros, folks like Puckett and myself, evaluating talent, grading players, and helping people who are not only just the guys who want to go pro, but the guys who just are tired of getting their asses kicked by their friends next door.
All right, well, who's going to be the next Snipedown? 2010, I think we're going to find out,
baby. Find out.
All right, guys, Sundance, thank you for joining me on the show. You got to get down there and help produce.
I got to go do the work.
It's time for the pregame show. Stay tuned.
Good job, guys. Go.
Coming for you.
All right, guys, welcome back to the pregame show. Right now, we just swapped out Sundance for D-Mac so fast. And sitting next to D-Mac for the first time on the pregame show, Scott Lesseur. Scott, welcome to the show, buddy.
Welcome, Scotty.
It's good to be here. All right, so, Scott, it's 2009, well, 2010, but we're here for the national championships of 2009's Pro Circuit season. And here in the winner's bracket this time around, our top 8 teams are the only ones competing in the winner's bracket. The other teams, they're all fighting out of the loser's bracket. And D-Mac, we got to learn a little bit about these top 8 teams. Give me a rundown, starting with our 8-seeded team, Status Quo.
When we have our number 8-seeded Status Quo, they've been pretty good this season, but they haven't been exceptional. Status Quo, they finished top 10 the past 2 tournaments. You would expect them with a change in legend to improve, but it hasn't happened. Status Quo, they've had a tough time this season.
But, that's partly due to their age. They're a bunch of young guys. And now with a player like Legend and the way they land before this event, they land against Triggers Down and Carbon, you can expect this team to come in here and turn some heads. You can't look at their past placings and base that on how they're going to place now.
And you could expect some bright things. They have some bright players in Ace and Legend, and Flame Sword and Tots have certainly improved as the season has gone on. But with the emergence of other teams, they're definitely they're the 8th seed.
Well, Status Quo, they have the practice. They have the sweetest land set up in all of Major League Gaming. So, Status Quo, I know they're prepared. They've been landing with every team on the planet for this event. But now, guys, let's talk about one of those other teams that is very prepared for this one. Believe the Hype. They're coming in at our number 7.
Believe the Hype started off this season extremely strong. They finished 3rd, and, they got a little apart from themselves, but now they're back together. This team practically beat every team on the circuit.
And it's interesting that he says that because it's true. They have beaten every single team on the circuit. In fact, Believe the Hype is the only other team besides Straight Rippin and Triggers Down to do so. When looking at Believe the Hype, the most dangerous number 7 seed that we've ever seen going into a national championship. Cloud and Demon D have been the staple of this team as the season has gone on. going positive 150 in Anaheim together. They've been a monstrous duo. They're sick.
I agree. I
can't even go anymore.
Now, Scott, believe the hype. This is one of those teams that you really like just because of their teamwork. Talk to me a little bit about this squad and what we can expect to see this weekend.
You know, they work in a good unison, Chris. You know, Clutch and Cloud, even though they don't see eye to eye so much outside of the game, but inside the game, they understand each other really well. And because of that, they work together as a duo. And you see them filtering around the map, always very well consistently.
All right, well, right now you're checking out some highlights of Final Boss. I guess that means it's time to talk about them. Now, Final Boss, they've been top 4 all season long, but this event, they're coming in as the 6th seed after finishing outside of the top 8 back in our last event at Anaheim. What can we expect to see out of Final Boss? They just picked up their 4th this week. Tuesday, Cypher was picked up by the squad.
And, you know, I like their pickup with Cypher. He's an extremely talented player. He was actually on the Believe the Hype squad when they finished 3rd. But the thing is I just don't know if they're too prepared going into this event. They have all the mechanics to make a good team. I just don't know if it's there because of the short term.
And then when you look at what they did last event, they came off such a disappointing event. Their first finish outside of the top 8, that definitely has to rattle them psychologically. Then you have to pick up a new player the week of the championships. Final Boss definitely isn't as smooth as they want to be. You know, they haven't made the transition. They are not the Final Boss of old. This is not 2006. Final Boss is not at a dominant level at this point. They have something to prove going into the championships for the first time.
And you know what? I think adding Cypher to the lineup is definitely going to help them, although they did not have a whole lot of time to prepare. Although I did get a message from Victory X while playing on Xbox Live saying Final Boss top 1 in Orlando. So we'll see how that plays out. But guys, let's talk about our number 5 seed now. Team Classic, they're coming in, they got Ghostayame, and they're looking really mean at their last land.
You know, this is one of my favorite teams to watch, and that's why it's so heartbreaking for me to have to see them go against Carbon in our round 2. This team is pretty much a mini Carbon. They're so well talented, and Ghostayame has made them understand the game to a different level than they've ever experienced. And going into the land, not to interrupt you, sorry,
I'm sorry,
but they land against Straight Rippin, and they beat Straight Rippin. I'm talking like 8-3 in series. This team is coming to play.
And this team has drastically improved since the beginning of the season. They didn't even place in the top 8 in the beginning of the season. They finished in the top 6 the past 3 events. Classic is a different team than we saw in the beginning, but at the same time, you know, they did beat Straight Rippin at a land, but it was only a land. Lands are different. Here at the tournament, this is where it counts. Classic has not beaten a top 16 besides Instinct this season. That's a problem if they're going to go into the championship.
And now, guys, Classic is a team, we don't even have highlights for them because they haven't made it to a broadcast. They haven't gone that far into the tournament in the winner's bracket. Can they do it here this weekend?
Well, this is where all the big boys come out, and this is where all the big boys put out all their big controllers and put on their big belts. So I don't think Classic
Huge
If you don't wear your big belts, just so you know, you can't win a national championship.
Now, what I'm saying is I don't think Classic could just show up at this tournament and decide that this is their tournament when everybody else is here saying this is their tournament. You know, it's not feasible.
All right, well, a team that is saying this is our tournament, it's Carbon. They finished top 3 at our last 2 events after coming together. Talk to me about this squad. They're coming in as our 4th seed, and they got this guy on their team, Walshy. He was looking pretty good earlier today.
I love this lineup, Chris. Their first time they've been together, they went -80 as a whole, and they finished 2nd place. If you're going -80, that means your objective game is on point, probably better than every other team in the league, in my opinion. So this team's coming to play. They land against Triggers Down and Instinct.
And Status Quo.
And Status Quo. They had the 4-team land. This team's coming prepared. And when you put two players like Walshy and Shockwave in a 4-team land, they're going to figure out all those strats, and they're going to counter them, and they're going to come into the event and look to win.
Well, they definitely have Walshy, the strategist, and a player who hasn't placed outside the top 2 in any of our national championships. That's something good to have on a team. But then when you